This is Retiring Today. I'm here with Chawn, Honkomp, and Loren Merkle, but today they're playing detectives. Chawn is playing the part of Inspector Gadget, half man, half machine, of course, full of high-tech toys. A little clumsy, but very powerful based on the 1983 animated series. And Loren is playing Sherlock Holmes, one of the best-known fictional detectives of all time, based on the short stories and novels by Conan Doyle that first appeared in 1887. Sherlock Holmes is an astute observationalist and immensely intelligent. And I am playing the part of Nancy Drew. Of course, Nancy Drew, the famous series that first started in 1930. She's smart, resourceful, and independent, and solves a lot of crimes in her own right. So here's what we want to do today. We want to solve crimes for you, retirement crimes. So this is going to feel sort of like your favorite, CSI type show. We're going to talk about a crime, then we're going to do an investigation, and don't worry, there will be a conviction at the end. All right, detectives, are you ready?
We're ready.
Grab your tools.
I'm ready.
All
kinds of tools. Go Gadget Retirement
They're
Planning.
hidden until they're revealed.
Here we go. We're going to shine some light on this. Crime number 1, underestimating risk. Define the crime for us.
Investment risk is one of the most prolific crimes as we go to and through retirement, because if you are lucky, you're going to go through 3, 4, 6 different recessions over the course of your retirement. On average, recessions happen every 5 to 6 years. So the question is, what happens to your portfolio during this time frame where you're supposed to be enjoying this freedom of time that you've never had before? When you retire, you probably have more money than what you've ever had, and now you have more time, and you just want to spend time enjoying it with your grandkids and traveling, your spouse, whomever is important to you. But then here comes the crime of recessions. And recessions happen. What happens to your portfolio, and does it derail your retirement in your retirement lifestyle? Not knowing what type of risk you're taking and is it appropriate for what it is you are trying to accomplish has to be revealed to make sure that you can have the lifestyle that you want.
I feel like we could have cued the scary music right there when he said recessions, because Chawn, there is nobody who's retired that wants to see their retirement lifestyle blow up when a recession hits. So we are going to investigate for them. We did some investigating. You do investigating all the time on risk. What is your investigation reveal?
Wowzers. You mean retirement or recessions can still happen during my retirement? I've saved all this money. I thought I should have protection now against the recessions, but I guess I need to be a little more intentional. So the information, the process of evaluating your portfolio, that's something that's extremely important. You should want this additional information, and that's part of our process, is that we analyze what an existing portfolio looks like. We're going to help you identify and know exactly what level of risk you're taking so that you have a better understanding of what you could expect your portfolio to do in an up market and potentially what it might do in a down market. It means this much more to you. As you get closer to retirement, most of us feel and understand that we don't have as much time. We don't necessarily want to take on as much volatility, because it means more. You're that much closer to distribution stage, and you want to feel more confident that you're not in a position where the retirement can blow up with something that's outside of your control. We know we can't control the overall markets. A lot of people like to think that it's going to just keep going steady and performing really well. But while we can't control the overall markets, we can help control your overall portfolio and how much people expect to participate in the market volatility.
And when we do this investigation for the families and individuals we work with, we make this extremely simple, very low calorie. One of the hardest parts about this whole thing is look at your portfolio. How much risk are you taking? How would your portfolio react when we go through this next recession? How do you figure that out? That's extremely daunting. Whereas what we do is we investigate how your portfolio is created and then show you how much risk you're taking in terms of you have $1 million portfolio. This next recession happens, your $1 million now goes down to $700,000, right? That is information that you can use to answer 2 questions. One is, do you feel comfortable with that type of movement in your portfolio? If your answer to that question is yes, then you know you're on the right track as far as how much risk you're taking. If the answer to that question is no, now you have an incredible opportunity to do something about it, because the market is still in a good place where you can take some risk off the table and configure a portfolio that's more commensurate with the type of risk that you feel comfortable with. Also then line up the amount of risk in your portfolio to what it is you're trying to accomplish from a retirement lifestyle standpoint. Because you don't want to take so much risk that your portfolio blows up when the market blows up, but you also need to take enough risk to make sure that you can beat inflation, you can beat taxation, and then you can grow it on top of that to achieve your retirement lifestyle. But all of that investigation starts with how much risk are you taking? Is it appropriate, comfort-wise and plan-wise?
Yeah, and it's okay if you yourself don't understand. That's what I'm hearing you saying. Don't worry if you're watching going, I don't know how much risk I'm taking.
Because how could you?
Yeah, how could you look at your portfolio? No. And then do you find, I understand when people are taking too much risk, how they could lose more than they want to. Do you find that sometimes people can dial up their risk a little bit more as they head to retirement, or does that not typically happen?
I think when we have this additional information, that does put people in a better position that now we know where we're at. So you have a better understanding of where you're at today. We can look at the factors, we can look at where you're at in life, we can look at your overall plan, and now you know, do you have an opportunity to increase that and potentially take more risk, or at least do it at the right times? Or maybe we're at a spot where maybe we need to decrease the risk. So it can definitely work both ways. I mean, we know we utilize the markets to get wealth and increase our retirement savings. More times than not, the markets are positive. That's why we choose to use them. So it's about having that information so that you feel really good at any point in time about the construction and design of your total investment portfolio.
An individual told me, she said, I want to take the least amount of risk I can for the most return I can possibly get. Doesn't that sound
smart.
great?
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, I mean, she had her thumb on the pulse of exactly what most investors want. Let's not take any more risk than what we have to get the maximum amount of return. The way you do that is understanding how much risk you need, how much risk you are taking, and then create efficiencies in your portfolio by decreasing the investment costs and making sure that you're truly diversified and all your investments are working together to accomplish your goals.
All right, team, are we ready to make an arrest?
Let's arrest
Let's book them.
Let's book them, Dano. Book them, Dano.
Book them, Dano.
Okay, here's the arrest. Let's lock up uncertainty, because if you know how much risk you're taking, Chawn, and you're comfortable, and it's going to help you get to your goals, you can put uncertainty in jail.
The information's out there so that we can all feel really good about this. Again, we talked about how the markets are going to keep going up and the markets are going to keep going down, and we can't control that timing. And that timing is very essential during that pre-retirement and retirement stage of life. So get the information, make sure you feel really good about how you're designing your portfolio and the types of investment decisions you're making, because it is a really important part of this stage of life. So we can get the information, not feel as uneasy. We don't want your retirement success to be based on chance. Let's base it on the choices that people make.
And then slam that door shut and throw away the key.
I like it. That sounds great. So you're hearing a lot of talk about risk, and you might have questions about your own retirement savings, where you stand when it comes to risk. Here's a great opportunity to speak directly with a retirement planner. You can go to merkleretire.com right now, and there's a calendar there. You can choose a time and a date that works for you and schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call. Now, if you don't want to talk about risk, or you're not even really sure what you want to talk about, that's okay. You don't have to have an agenda. You can just ask some questions, or maybe just let the retirement planners talk a little bit. It's an open conversation that you can have with a retirement planner. We've got 2 more crimes to solve next.
Retirement is all about staying active and spending time with loved ones. But you may still wonder if you can have the retirement you've dreamed of. Download our complimentary Retire Your Way toolkit to receive a copy of Loren Merkle's new book, Retire Your Way, and 5 guides that'll help you turn your retirement worries into confidence. Go to retireyourwaytoolkit.com. Don't just dream about retirement. Take action and retire your way.
This is Retiring Today. We're in investigation headquarters because we're playing the part of retirement detectives. Nancy Drew, Sherlock Holmes, and you with us here, Inspector Gadget?
I'm ready. Let's go. Trying to figure out what tool's next.
Inspector Gadget. Doesn't this headquarters look great? We got to take a look around here. We've got an investigation board. We've got a map. We've got all kinds of files and folders. Hats off to Anna, Jack, and Rochelle for putting all of this together for us, because now I can solve crimes in this headquarters. It really helps me solve crimes. You guys feel the same way?
A lot of things I could do with things in this room.
And we're going to have to, because there's a lot of crimes to solve.
There are a lot of crimes to solve. Okay, so next crime. You ready for this one? Ignoring long-term care. Sherlock?
This crime is an easy one to ignore, so it's an easy one to sneak up on us for a number of reasons. One is it is extremely difficult to think about a loved one or ourselves in a position of vulnerability like a long-term care situation. But two, then also thinking about how are we going to cover that cost? How are you going to make sure that you get the care that you deserve, the care that you want, and be able to pay for it? Or your spouse, how are you going to make sure that your spouse gets the care that he or she deserves, and how are you going to pay for that? And then how are you going to make sure that the surviving spouse still can have enough left over to have the remaining lifestyle and retirement that you guys dreamed about together? All of that is stuff that people don't want to think about oftentimes until it's too late. We need to investigate these crimes early on to help avoid these crimes.
Well, they don't want to talk about it because, yeah, it's not fun to talk about nursing home, long-term care, yourself or your parents. And it's really not fun, Chawn, to talk about the cost of this.
Yeah, the investigation tells us that this is not a risk that we want to ignore. It can be extremely expensive. We've got the data out there that, if we just think about Iowa, we see on average you could spend anywhere from $4,000 to upwards of $10,000 or plus on a monthly basis for the level of care that someone might need. And that's impactful. And so we need to have that information. If you're an individual, the planning for long-term care can look different. If you're a couple, it's going to look different there as well. But it's important to know because it can be a significant impact on what that survivorship looks like. If we do have an individual that goes through long-term care and maybe they incur a significant monthly expense of $4,000 to $7,000 or $10,000 a month for a certain time frame, and if that person were to then pass away, well, now we've got to understand what that plan looks like for the remaining individual. Are they in a position to continue their quality of life? The odds are, if you hit age 65, there's a high likelihood that we're all going to need long-term care for a certain amount of time at some point during our retirement journey.
Yeah, let's get into that because that's what the investigation reveals. So let's make sure, because I think this is really something to hit home. 70% of those age 65 and older will need long-term care. Women, 3.7 years, men, 2.2. 20% of 65-year-olds will need it for longer than 5 years.
Which means it's highly probable that you're going to encounter that. An individual that we were working with had a story that really hit home. He said he wants to make sure that his long-term care risk is taken care of because he has parents and they were divorced. Two way different experiences, except for the commonality is they both needed long-term care. His dad had not planned for long-term care. He saw how it evaporated the resources that he had saved, and there wasn't much left over, not only for his lifestyle, but then for any of the other plans that he had in retirement. Completely different story with his mom, who had adequately prepared for that long-term care risk. So when she needed it, she got to choose the type of care that she wanted because she could afford it. And then she had lots left over to pass on and help with the legacy plan that she cared so deeply about. And that's why he was concerned about making sure that long-term care risk was taken care of for him to protect him, his family, but then also to accomplish these other dreams that he has for his retirement.
Do we think we're ready to make an arrest? Investigation complete here, guys?
We should.
Okay, I think what we should do is arrest the fact that you don't need it. Put that away. Put that to the side and really at least open your eyes up to the fact that you need it. And as we make this conviction, Inspector Gadget, by the way, I called you Chawn. I got out of character. I was calling you Sherlock and I started calling you Chawn. It's easy to... So Inspector Gadget, as we make the conclusion, I think it's important for people to understand that you don't necessarily have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars for long-term care. There are strategies. There are several ways to pay for long-term care if you should need it.
And that's part of the planning, is to understand what different strategies are out there. Let's understand what that potential risk looks like. Let's understand what that potential impact to your specific plan is. And then we can have further conversation about what types of strategies are out there. Whether it is your traditional long-term care, we've seen that. There's choosing to do nothing. That's a decision to make, and that's better than not ever doing the analysis. If we choose to do nothing, that's okay, and that's what a lot of plans look like, is that we're assuming that risk. But then there's other additional strategies that are becoming more and more prevalent As consumers, we want something that's the best fit for a certain plan. So let's get the information. Let's make sure we're planning for it. We know it's not easy to plan for. Nobody has that vision of their retirement journey being a certain time frame of long-term care needs, but we want to make sure we're having those conversations so you feel good about one of your potential risks in retirement.
Yeah, and one of those plans or ways to pay for it can include some sort of an insurance approach, right?
Yeah, we identify first how much risk do you have, and then which of the different ways you can cover it is the best way to offset that. Insurance is one of the common ways that people choose to offset all or a piece of that long-term care risk. It doesn't really matter sitting here which one of those methods is the best for you, except for you have to complete the investigation to determine which of those methods is the best for you. And what that will mean to you is then you're going to feel way more confident, you're going to have way more certainty about all of these things that we cannot control. So when these things that we cannot control, like a long-term care event, take place, you don't then have to react because you were proactive with that decision. And just imagine all of that stress that you could have had by not planning just evaporated, and then you're ready for any of these eventualities.
And I love the thought of being proactive when it comes to retirement, because it'll come. With that day is going to come for me. You want to get ahead of it a little. You know it's coming and you're excited about it. And I think that our online Journey to Retirement workshop is one of the best ways to be proactive about what's to come.
In that retirement workshop in the Journey to Retirement workshop that we go through, that is the goal. There is to help people be proactive. We're out there, we're trying to give you as much information as you need. We know the biggest step to building and having a retirement plan is really step one, which is to get started. And oftentimes we get questions around, well, what is a retirement plan? How do I start? And learning more about what it means to have a retirement plan, getting that information, that is step one. So we talk about John and Sue, we talk about their retirement goals and their retirement vision, and then start helping them walk down that path of having and creating a retirement plan.
Go gadget, get started. And once you get that ball rolling, then it becomes so much easier, and then you can start to see a path to what that next phase of your life is going to look like and how you're going to be able to get there with action steps. And we outline those action steps that our hypothetical couple, John and Sue, take in that Journey to Retirement workshop. And your goals are going to be a little bit different than John and Sue, just like they are a little bit different from your neighbors or coworkers. But that's okay, because you can take the strategies that John and Sue applied to accomplishing their retirement dreams and apply it to your own retirement dreams, so you have your custom roadmap on your journey.
retirewithmerkle.com. That's the website where you can find the online workshops. You sign up, you choose a time and a date that works for you, and then you watch this workshop from the comfort of your home with your laptop, wherever is convenient for you, and you will learn more about what Sherlock Holmes and Inspector Gadget have been talking about. But the good news is we have one more crime to investigate. Find out what it is next.
Retirement is all about staying active and spending time with loved ones. But you may still wonder if you can have the retirement you've dreamed of. Download our complimentary Retire Your Way toolkit to receive a copy of Loren Merkle's new book, Retire Your Way, and 5 guides that'll help you turn your retirement worries into confidence. Go to retireyourwaytoolkit.com. Don't just dream about retirement. Take action and retire your way.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We are playing detectives today. Sherlock Holmes, Inspector Gadget, and I am playing Nancy Drew. And what I love is that this is my mother's copy of the first Nancy Drew book, The Secret of the Old Clock. Of course, she read them as a child, then I read them. Millions of women inspired by Nancy Drew. And here's a fun fact. You ready for this one?
Ready.
Yes.
Okay. For almost 60 years, the real author of the Nancy Drew series wasn't known. So it's by Carolyn Keene. That's not a real person. They found out that it was actually a woman from Ladora, Iowa. That's about 40 miles west of Iowa City.
Interesting. She
was the ghostwriter of, I think, 23 of the 30 books. So there is your fun fact for today.
That's amazing. There's a lot of special people that come from Iowa.
Yeah.
And there's just one more.
I think, yeah, I know at least 2.
Several.
Three. So today we are solving retirement crimes, having some fun, playing detectives, but really what you guys do is do a lot of investigating on behalf of the families and individuals you work with to make sure that they don't commit these crimes. So we don't want you to commit these crimes either. Crime number 3 is retiring on your own. Sherlock, why is this a crime?
Think about anything you've done for the first time. Doing it on your own can be really scary, but then you magnify this experience with, this is one of the most important transitions and timeframes of your life, and doing this on your own, trying to overcome all of these retirement crimes by yourself can be extremely scary. And doing this with a guide who has done this hundreds of times in the past can really help you sidestep some of these crimes before you actually have to live them out in real time.
Okay, let's investigate this crime a little because I'm pretty curious about this one. So if you kind of look at the studies, and of course you can look online and find a lot of different numbers. Nancy did a little investigating right off the top. There's a lot of studies, but one that I read said that people are 3 times happier when they go into retirement with a plan than without one. So everybody likes to be happier in retirement. Another study talked about the value that working with a financial advisor or retirement planner can add, and the stats are even 1.5 to 4% on your investment returns. So that right there is a pretty good setup for this investigation. But Inspector Gadget, the real proof is in the meetings, the visits you have with families and individuals every day, because you actually, in those meetings, play Chawn, and you get to deliver the great news, and you get to see in real time how this helps people and changes their lives.
Almost everybody we interact with tells us they only want to retire once, so they don't have the experience. Well, we're fortunate that we get to retire every single day. So the same conversations, the same concerns that you're facing as you get into your pre-retirement and retirement stage of life are the same conversations our entire team are having every single day. So that allows us to be that professional. That allows us to have expertise in this arena. And now that we can learn from all of our experience and all the time we put into this to become the experts, and we can pass that knowledge and expertise along, so that we're able to help people get more value, get return. You mentioned how the investment portfolios typically perform anywhere from 1% to maybe 4% better. That's just one piece of the retirement planning process. Some of the other crimes we talked about previously, the taxes, if you save in taxes, that's return. If you make a better Social Security decision, that's return. So that's where all of that value comes in, is that we're going to help you take a holistic view of your total retirement picture, and you're going to feel that much stronger about all these decisions that they're facing.
I feel like we get to live a lot of these retirements with the families and individuals we work with, and that's one of the most rewarding parts from our chairs, is we get to retire with them and share those experiences, like the Disney Halloween cruise that we just heard about, where this an individual we work with, she's a widow, went on a cruise with her daughter and son-in-law and the 3 grandkids, and she was showing us the pictures of the outfits that they wore, and how the 5-year-old granddaughter, who is their princess, had a different dress for all 5 days.
Wonderful.
And it's just the amazing experience after kind of a traumatic event of losing your lifelong partner. And the joy that was on her face just brought big smiles to my face as I got to witness real time what her retirement was shaping up to be.
Yeah, that's better than any portfolio returns or graphs up on our charts or anything.
No, all that stuff is important, but this is the why, right? The lifestyle, your lifestyle that you want to live, that is your why. Of why you're going through all these investigations to sort out these crimes, so you can live fully what it is that you're trying to experience for your retirement.
And our experience shows us that there are 6 components to the planning process that we work on a daily basis. And at any stage in life, any one of these 6 components might be the most important one to you. So we know, yes, your investments are important, and having an income plan is important, and making Social Security decisions. All of these are important, but having that plan puts you in a spot where when life does happen, and as you progress through your retirement journey, you have new goals that you identify, and you want to be able to be in a position to achieve those. That plan's going to help you feel that much more confident with whatever does come your way during retirement.
Team, ready for the rest?
Let's
go. Rest.
The best part of the show, right? When they lock up the bad person.
Let's
okay,
win.
Here is what we're going to lock up. We are going to lock up the idea that a plan and working with a retirement planner is only for the wealthy, because really, at the end of the day, everyone deserves that peace of mind that you give people when you hand them that plan.
Everybody needs a plan, because everybody has decisions that they have to make that are going to be long-lasting, permanent decisions in retirement. If you have a pension, then you need to have a plan for how to use that pension. If you have Social Security, which most people do, of the 81 different options you have, because you look at your Social Security statement and it says your full retirement age is 67 6 and 8 months, that does not mean that's what you have or even should do. If you have investments with an employer, what do you do once you leave that employer with those investments? All of that kind of stuff and much, much more should be involved in your plan. So you don't have to have 7 figures saved. You don't have to make 6 figures as an income. If you want to retire and you have moving parts to your retirement, you need to have a plan.
No matter what your assets look like, no matter what benefits are all out there that are a total part of your picture, you're going to have decisions that you make. So we see that retirement success is going to be based on your choices and not by chance.
Here's a great retirement decision you can make right now. Go to retirewithmerkle.com or use the QR code that you see on your screen and sign up for that online Journey to Retirement workshop. It's a great opportunity to learn about all of the decisions that come with retirement. And of course, it's complimentary, so get comfortable. Guys, it's been a lot of fun today solving these retirement crimes. So for Sherlock Holmes, Inspector Gadget, I'm Nancy Drew, and we say thanks for watching.